Hello, welcome to Inside the Birds Postgame Live, presented by my bookie. Bet anything, anytime, and anywhere, only with my bookie. Well, if you were expecting the Philadelphia Eagles to look just a little different tonight, if you were expecting the players and coaches to be fighting for their jobs, and if you expected any sign of the Eagles getting ready to emerge from their slump, I'm sorry, you got none of that. The Eagles' season ended much the way their regular season ended in the playoffs as they lose 32-9 to the Tampa Bay Bucs at Raymond James Stadium in an NFC wildcard game. I'm Geoff Mosher alongside my co-host Adam Caplan, and joining us on Postgame Live, as always, former Eagles tight end Clay Harbor. Fellas, maybe I should pause for a minute to observe a moment of silence for this Eagles season because it died a long time ago and we now need to eulogize it. Call the coroner. It's over. It's done. And I tweeted this today, guys, during the game as they were starting to fall behind. We've seen it for 7 straight weeks now, and yet I'm still sort of amazed by what I'm seeing. Adam, I just can't ever remember a team so good for 11 weeks be so bad after that.
Honestly, they weren't that good. They were so up and down the first half of the season. They got away with a lot.
They beat good teams, though. They did beat good teams. They were doing well.
They like the players said, they skated by Kansas City. They skated by Buffalo, especially. Dallas somehow inexplicably lost that game in Philly. Dak Prescott makes the Cowboys are going to cowboy, like Avant says. They got what they deserved. They were never that good. I mean, they're a shell of last year's team, and everybody deserves it. Coaches, players, they all failed. Yeah, the other teams we spoke to just buried their offensive scheme. I mean, they're very, very hard on the Eagles, based on what they saw from the all-22. Some of their opponents said, man, they're simplistic. They don't help their players out. Very critical, and I mean, pretty hard on what they saw off tape. It's all based on tape. Hurts regressed this season. There's just a lot of regression. Very few players improved, which is really disturbing. A lot of bad with this team. The record doesn't really reflect where this team is. I mean, let's call it like it is. That's the thing that's troubling, is that, you have a decent record and then they don't reflect how bad this team was over the last 7 games. I mean, but the whole thing came down to me. The whole thing came crashing down. That Cardinals implosion.
I had nothing left at that.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Clay, I have to ask you this. I mean, you watched this unfold. You're a former player. And what I'm wondering,
I was holding, you know what it was? I was holding.
Apologies for the technical difficulties here.
For Ultra.
And anyway, Clay, can you just tell us, like, from your vantage point, do you feel like the players checked out? I mean, I can only imagine what practice was like this week leading up, but you saw some missed tackles, some half-hearted stuff there. Do you feel like the Eagles checked out before the game?
I don't know what's going on. I've been on some good teams. I've been on some bad teams. But I ain't never been on a team that was 10-1 and then ends up one of their last 6. I mean, something happened, obviously, with the defensive change. The way the defense played today was, I hate to say it, embarrassing. Adam talked about regression. James Bradbury went from a Pro Bowl caliber guy to a guy that doesn't look like they should be on an NFL field, put on an NFL uniform. I'm sorry. I like the guy. He's he's not making easy tackles. He's getting beat every play. These guys have no clue what they're doing in zone coverage, man blitz, zone blitz. They're not getting to the quarterback. You can't cover. You can't pressure the quarterback. You're not going to win games. And then offensively, talk about a regression. Jalen Hurts, man. I mean, he has no pocket presence. Awareness level is 0. I'm sorry. From what I'm seeing right here, your awareness is 0. You're facing the same exact blitzes that we saw on film last week. The broadcast did a great job of showing us some of the all-22 footage of these blitzes. These are similar blitzes to what Wink Martindale did. You think usually when you lose a game and you have trouble with something, here's what you do, Geoff. You go in the next day, you put that on film, and you correct it.
Right.
This is what happened. Okay, it's on tape. We're probably going to get hit with this again, and you correct it. They did nothing to correct any of these third. They were 0 for 9 on third. You're never going to win an NFL football game going 0 for 9 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down. That's where the game's lost. You keep those drives going. Who knows what happened? For me, that was the biggest blunder. The same blitzes you're seeing, zero pressure. You're seeing man blitzes. You're not picking them up. You have the wrong routes called against blitz. You're running a 10-yard stop route. Give me a route on the move. Give me a slant route. Give me a 5-yard out, a 10-yard. Give me something on the move to beat these blitzes. Overall, this is one of the worst coach games I've ever seen. It felt like they were all panicked, and the panic from the coaching staff leaked down to the players. They sensed the desperation on the coaching staff, and the players sensed that, and they realized that. And it's a bad vibe. It's a bad feel. I'm not going to be shocked if by the end of this week, Nick Sirianni is updating his LinkedIn profile and looking for a new job. I'm sorry.
I got it.
It's a truly amazing thing to think that a guy who has made the playoffs in all 3 of his years coaching the team has won double-digit wins in 2 of those 3 years and has been to a Super Bowl that he lost by 3 points could truly be on the chopping block. But as we enter this offseason, you look at how poorly this team has played over the last 8 weeks and having 0 answers. One thing we talked about on Inside the Birds pregame live, Clay, Adam and I, is that, we just heard that the vibe at the NovaCare just had been tense, not good. And, obviously you always, as an organization, looking for your head coach to set the tone and figure it out. Maybe not win maybe the Eagles couldn't have won past this first round anyway with all their injuries, but at least showing that there's some resolve. And they showed none of that for 7 weeks, basically. Because remember, even that Giants win for a lot of people felt like a loss. I mean, it were same breakdowns, same issues against a bad team. So we'll see what happens in the next few days. I don't think anybody's going to argue your point. We know that the franchise can be impulsive at times with head coaches and when things go south. So we will have to see. No matter what happens, we know that there are going to be, Adam, sweeping. It may not be the head coach, but there are going to be sweeping changes, and there need to be for this team going into the offseason.
If Sirianni's still the head coach, obviously it'll start with defense. I mean, it's no secret they're going to have a new defensive coordinator. That defensive coordinator needs to bring in coaches who don't understand his system. Here's the problem that you have. You've got a lot of these guys who came from college. Some did not have NFL experience. Unfortunately, it shows based on the results at some of the positions. There's such a major regression of the players on defense, and the 2 kids they spent on first-round picks, the D linemen who flashed this season, really struggled down the stretch. We talked about that in our pregame show earlier tonight. The tape job at linebacker did not work. No surprise there. Safety position was it to be kind of inconsistent. And the cornerback position, now Slay had an injury. We'll see what that winds up being. Bradbury, I mean, they're going to have to eat just under $11 million if they cut him.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously can't start next season. The 2 kids are behind them. They're certainly not starters.
No.
The Eagles have major challenges with defensive personnel. Major challenges with defensive personnel, and then offensively, they completely underachieved all season. Really, from the Jeff we talked about in the New England game 1.
Yep,
they kept skating by. They find a way to win, which is a test of character, but they were playing down the competition. Then they got what they deserved. They got absolutely smoked by the Niners, and it started there.
Yeah, you're right, man. The Patriots, who were a team this year that went through a stretch where they had trouble scoring 1 touchdown in a game. If you go back and look at the box score, I think they had like 380 yards against the Eagles in the season opener. Hunter Henry had a couple of touchdowns. I mean, that was one of their better offensive performances, and then they really hit the skids there. That just shows you that, as Adam just mentioned, offensively and defensively, the Eagles really weren't right from the beginning. Somehow made it to 10-1, but now it is a completely different world, and we'll see what happens in the offseason. The only good news for Eagles fans, guys, is that there's still a chance to make some money here in the NFL postseason if they make the right picks. And they can do that with MyBookie. The beauty of MyBookie, it's not just about watching games, but it's about turning every second into a potential win. With MyBookie, you can stream the games and even live bet them. Turn any game day into a payday. Are you guys all ready to up your game a lot better than the Eagles were able to? Sign up today and make your first deposit with promo code TheBirds for a sweet deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code The Birds, all one word, to claim your bonus. It's not just a promo code. It's your secret weapon to get the extra edge on the house. The best part is you don't need to be a sports whiz to win at MyBookie. You can cash in on everything from politics to your favorite shows and then some. Bet anything, anytime and anywhere, only with MyBookie. I think we have to start with this Eagles defensive effort. I thought for I don't want to say the first time, we definitely saw miscommunication. We definitely saw edge rushers dropping again, Hassan Reddick earlier in the game. We saw guys just getting beat. We did finally see the front line play with a little bit of urgency and get a few sacks. But Adam, I go back to Greg Cosell's point. Don't get fooled by the Eagles getting pressure in this game. This is not a very good offensive line by the Bucs, and the team still scored 32 points. It amazes me how much time Baker Mayfield had to throw, whether it was play action or not. He just had a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, look, sacks are, again, individual plays. That's why you actually have to watch the games. I mean,
Yeah.
if you go, oh, wow, they got 4 sacks. Well, what do they do on the other plays? Not very well. They had a little bit of urgency. You're right. Milt Williams had a nice play. Sweat got in there. You could see his knee brace, by the way. We told people last week on our show he's wearing one. One of the teams told us it's his left knee. You could see he didn't look right. The thing that bothered me about Reddick is the way they're using him. Like, they don't stunt. He just runs upfield. He just runs right into the lineman. I don't understand. It's just what an absolute mess.
Yeah.
The game was a horror show defensively. Again, when your punter's like the best story of the game, you probably didn't play very well.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Clay, the Bucs were 6 of 14 on third down, so 43%, pretty decent. But given all the time Baker had to throw, he missed about 3 or 4 guys on third down, and then there were 2 Mike Evans drops. There was a Cade Otton drop. I mean, you almost get the feeling like if you substituted Baker Mayfield for like Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford, not the best quarterback in the world, but a really good one, that this thing could have been like 52-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is obviously Baker didn't have a ton of rushing yards, but there's a couple of times, I remember one in specific, where there's rushing, like Hassan Reddick just runs straight up the field.
Yeah.
Baker takes off for a first down right there. I mean, if you're not going to get to the quarterback, at least stay in his. The Buccaneers had 16 batted passes this year, the worst team in the league. Baker's not a tall guy. If you're not going to get to him, at least bat the passes down, get your hands up in front of him. So he had all day to throw. You didn't bat any passes down. You're not getting your hands up. That affects a quarterback like Baker Mayfield. And his numbers were good. Obviously, 119 rating, whatever, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. They should have been better. He had drops from Mike Evans. He had drops from Cade Otton. I mean, the times that he failed to complete passes weren't even on him. Mm-hmm. The defense did nothing to stop this guy. And I kind of felt bad for Matt Patricia right off the bat, because I'm watching the game and I'm going, okay, he comes out with a man-to-man blitz. Okay, they dice him over the middle. Then he comes back the next play. He tries his own blitz, dice him over the middle. No pressure on either play. Then he drops 4. Then he just rushes 4, another first down. Like, okay, he literally tried 3 different strategies in this first series of plays, and the Eagles can't get there.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of what we're talking about is coaching, and deservedly so. But we really do, as Adam, you brought this up, they need an entirely new coaching staff, but they are very, very limited on the back end from a personnel standpoint. And to Clay's point, even when Sean Desai was the play caller, he was really he played we talked about this in the middle of the year. He played so many different coverages. He would go from cover 3 to cover 2 to 2-man, 2 zone. Like he never tried to show the same thing. And no matter what he did, the Eagles could get picked apart in most games. There were some nice moments like Miami and the Rams game, but for when it started to go south, the Eagles were getting picked apart across the middle. And now Matt Patricia, same thing. The Eagles are just so obviously undynamic, unathletic, slow, and aging in the secondary. Adding Kevin Byard didn't help. And that part of it goes to Howie. I mean, they lost a lot of dynamic players, maybe not great players, but athletic players in the offseason, and his replacements did not work. And that put those 2 coordinators in a bind a whole lot, trying to figure out what coverages they can call that would work.
See, the problem is, and we say, look, some of the coaches struggle this season, but part of it is look at the players they were given. They were down 5 starters on defense. It showed. You're down Hargrave, 2 linebackers and 2 safeties, it's going to be, it's just not going to look as good, you know.
Right.
You lose Denard Wilson, who's terrific, who's one of the best defensive backs coaches in the NFL. They lost other coaches on defense. It's been a struggle bus. It wasn't just one thing, guys on defense. It's collectively between the players and the coaches. It simply didn't work. Howie's got tremendous decisions to make, and they're not good. This offseason, it's bad. The only real bright spot in this game, Devontae Smith was absolutely awesome. In all seriousness, he was awesome.
Yeah,
He was
And
good.
what can you say?
Very good. Yeah.
Smitty put it out there. He was absolutely incredible. But man, to use a Cosell line, this was a tough watch. I mean, as I texted you guys, is there a mercy rule? Could they cancel this game? This was so bad. It's tough. It's really hard to watch. Bad football is so hard to watch.
It was bad.
Yeah.
They were really bad most of the game on both sides of the football, other than Smith was terrific.
Howie's
and by the-
hands definitely aren't clean, man. Howie's hands are definitely not clean.
Right.
Howie made some bad calls. I mean, let's call it like it is. I mean, just look at the cornerback. Bradbury shouldn't have brought him back. That's an X right there. You should not have brought Bradbury back. Okay, maybe you keep Darius Slay. Okay, we're cool there. Maybe you keep TJ Edwards, who came to life and really helped the Bears have a top 5 defense in the last half of the season. The guy was all over the place, won the MVP for the Bears. Maybe you keep Epps. Maybe you keep CJ Gardner-Johnson. Obviously, you're putting a lot of faith into Kobe Dean, but this linebacking core, bringing in Nick Morrow, trying the Miles Jack thing, the Zach Cunningham thing. Okay, didn't work. Shaq Lawrence, like you guys said, these Band-Aids didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Howie's got to take, his too, because Howie, the players that he had out there, I mean, these guys aren't run fitting. They're missing tackles. Obviously, the defense is tough. You lost 2 really good generals, 2 of your best coordinators. That matters, but they didn't have the players defensively. They did not have the players. You can look at these guys and see that these are not good NFL players right now. In the past, whatever system you're putting them in, maybe in a different system, they were better. But that means you just didn't do your homework. They don't fit in your system. You couldn't see the deterioration of Bradford. So, in my opinion, Howie's hands are dirty too.
Yeah, and I especially think at safety, I mean, you can understand if they let Edwards because they thought Nakobe Dean was going to be ready. Obviously, he got hurt. That's still a calculated risk because they didn't have a number 2 linebacker who had done much in this league. But at safety, right, you started this season with Reed Blankenship, a nice story, but like not a starter, a high-level starter. Terrell Edmonds, okay, who is not necessarily fit for the defense they were running and played like it, and Justin Evans, who had missed 3 straight years with the Saints from injury. Like he had, I'm going to be injured written all over him. And guess what? He's been injured all year. So how they went into this year with that middle of the defense thinking that it was going to be all right and not that. I agree. And that's not hindsight quarterbacking. We've talked about that going in, and we even talked about a 10-1 saying, man, they're still a little loose up the middle here. If they start playing really good quarterbacks, or if things start to get injuries, right, which they got, then depth is going to be a huge problem. I can't say how much we hit on that depth in the secondary being an issue. If there were injuries,
quality.
Certainly there was. Right.
Quality of depth is poor. Again, depth has nothing to do with how many players you have. It's the quality of your depth. The back end of the Eagles roster is really poor comparatively to last season. Trading away future draft picks doesn't help you. This is a long road here. I didn't quite see it this bad to start the season. Who could have known?
Yeah.
They kept skating by, but they got their comeuppance, and this is what you get when you don't.
You got a sack in the playoffs.
I'm sorry,
your boy Derek Barnett.
Yeah, well, now he's playing the wide 9,
by the way.
He's playing the wide 9, and Matt Burke coached him here in Philly. I mean, Matt Burke is their defense coordinator.
Yep.
I'm not absolving the Eagles here. They could use anyone to rush the passer, but wide 9, man, it produces sacks, and good for him. Good for them. I mean, they claimed him off waivers, but this is bad. I mean, getting back to the Eagles here. They have a lot of decisions to make. They're older. They're too old at certain positions. And poor Jason Kelce, it's like, if this is his swan song, this is the way it ends. You'd love him to walk off the sunset at least getting back to the Super Bowl. Well, that didn't happen.
Or at least with some dignity, like a really hard fought playoff loss.
Right. Like, a good game. Right. Fair, very fair. And see, BG, potentially end his career, and Cox end his career like this potentially. So it's a shame. It really is. This is the owner, Jeffrey Lurie. I couldn't imagine being him right now. This is just, boy, this is almost like 2012 again. I mean, obviously this roster is way better than what Andy ended with, but they couldn't get out of their own way in 2012 when Andy got canned.
Mm.
This is not good. Man, this thing has gotten off the rails here.
Man,
Yeah,
take it easy
very
with
much.
the shots, Adam. Like, come on, man.
I know we have a man who played on that team, Adam. Be careful.
Sorry.
Man.
That's all right. I brought up a real painful memory for Jason Avant in the pregame show. So a 2009 team collapse. So I don't think you were with the team at that point,
No.
Clay, right?
The
No.
next season, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a real quick break to hear from our friends at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. It's the exclusive Jersey Shore resort of Inside the Birds.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schulter makes sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Birds post-game live. Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan, former Eagles tight end Clay Harbor. Fellas, you know it's bad for the Eagles when Jay Gruden, former Washington Commanders head coach, who went through quarterback after quarterback in Washington, is tweeting to the Eagles coaches to please help Jalen Hurts out. Please give him some options in the blitz. Devontae Smith had a very good game offensively, but what sticks out to me is, he's going to be the main target. And I'm sure Todd Bowles, who blitzes as much as he does, says he's going to get his yards in one-on-one situations. But on third down, Devontae Smith and nobody really could become a factor because the Eagles struggled mightily there. As Clay mentioned earlier, 0 for 9 and then 0 for 2 on fourth down. So the Eagles 0 for 11 in situational football.
Does that ever happen,
not having AJ
folks?
Brown. What's that? Say it again?
Do we know if that's ever happened with an Eagles team? They never converted a third down in a game. I've never heard of that
That's
before.
a good. I'll have to check. I'm sure there have been some ugly ones, but that is a good point. It may have never happened before. Clay, I know no AJ Brown, so you expect Devontae Smith to get some early looks, but I mean third down, nightmare,
man. And it all comes back to the blitz. And you look at this number, the Eagles were blitzed on 54% of the dropbacks, the highest percentage any team has blitzed in a playoff game since the last time the Eagles played the Bucs in a playoff game. So you had to know coming in that you're getting the blitz. That's a thing that I don't understand. In meetings, like, are you not going over every single outlet? Okay, here's the blitz. Here's what we're doing. You come in, you watch what Wink Martindale was able to do to you last week, and that's what I thought. I go, okay, maybe this is a good thing. The way they played against the Giants, because, yes, it showed they had some holes and they had some problems against the blitz. But there's no way you're not going to fix those problems and go over that and come up with a different strategy. They came with the same strategy that they did against the Giants, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Just a horrible plan. And then Jalen is acting like he's never seen this blitz before, like he doesn't see him coming. Okay, and you're taking – I'm okay with being aggressive, but when you're taking deep shots on 3rd and 4 or 5, 4th and 4, you're taking – take the high percentage throw.
Yeah.
You got the one-on-one downfield. You need to take the high percentage throw to keep the drive going.
Play.
It was just dumb.
Hey, do you notice they have no inbreakers? This is the problem. I could literally write a book on how the scheme of the problems. Okay, and kudos to Troy Aikman to bury the scheme. I mean, I'm glad he did that.
Aikman was great tonight. Yeah,
yeah. I've never seen a scheme that has very little inbreakers. This is unacceptable. How the hell does this happen in an NFL offense? Clay, could you help us?
No, that's what I'm saying. You're running stop routes, a 10-yard developing route against the blitz. Against the blitz, here's what the coaches are going to say. We got quick hitters. You're going to have some slants. You're going to have some ins. You might have a little in-out play. You got some quick hitters to get the ball out and to keep players on the move, because that's how you make one person miss. Guess what? You got a big play. That's how you get them to stop blitzing. And obviously, AJ being out, there's not as much of a risk for the defense, the big play threat. You got Julio made a play, but he's out there in a walker. Quez Watkins acting like he doesn't want to get the ball thrown to him. They don't want to hand the ball off to Swift, and then offensively, like run the ball. If it's 3rd and 4 or 3, you have the tush push. You're almost unstoppable on this. Run the ball. If you don't get it, you get 2 yards. Use the tush push. Like, some of the stuff was just common sense that you would think they would do that they did, and it was just really unfortunate the plan they had. You were blitzed over half the time. You had the least amount of rushing yards. I don't know the stat exactly. I wrote it down somewhere for an Eagles, the fewest yards in a playoff game in franchise history at 41. History.
2.8 per carry.
Ever. Run the ball more, get closer, get more manageable. Third down's the worst third down plan I maybe have ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, they did. I will say, Clay, I mean, you're right. They didn't commit to it enough for what they can do. There were a couple of times they ran, got stuffed, then they committed some penalties. It didn't seem like they were in a good enough flow to just sort of start to take over and dominate the run game. And I thought Tampa Bay did a pretty good job. I mean, if you take away DeAndre Swift had a 17-run in the fourth quarter, the game was out of hand by then. But you know, if you take that away, he's 9 for 17, which is 2 yards a rush. So,
by the way, it was comical. Swift finally got the ball in the pass game late in the game. See, is there a rule, guys? And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. Are backs not allowed to get the football, or can they get the football on 1st and 2nd down in the pass game? Are they not allowed to?
I believe bylaw 63 code A, Philadelphia Eagles.
It's
upper
just
management
so bad.
dictates you are not allowed to throw the ball under 5 yards.
One of the most versatile backs in the game, you don't use him on 1st and 2nd down to catch the football. Like, there's again, we could list 50 things that are an issue with this offense. That's in my top 20. But man, this is such a hard watch. This offense is totally broken this season. Hal Hurts had 38 combined touchdowns. It's like the most, passive 38 total touchdowns you've seen, because this whole offense has taken aggression. And then defensively, I mean, just for all people criticize the Desai, it really wasn't that bad. But the players didn't buy in for what we heard. That was that. And this is what you got. Matt Patricia, one of the worst defensive coordinator performances I've ever seen.
Ever. Can I get your guys' take on the safety?
Competitive. That was, yeah.
Jalen, to throw the ball away, man. Like, what is your awareness?
Yeah, I thought that was really poor awareness by Jalen. I mean, you got to call it when you see it. That was just poor awareness. You know, I was very surprised actually that he held on to the ball that long, and that was not good. That was bad. Guys, there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans because I could tell there were a lot of Eagles fans at Tampa. There always are. They travel well. Yeah. They were out. There's going to be a lot of Eagles fans traveling home who are going to be very, very upset. They're not going to want to do anything. It's going to be hard to pick yourself up off the couch. You're certainly not going to be wanting to sit there and make dinner for yourself or your whole family, right? That's where HelloFresh comes in, because they deliver farm fresh food with pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes right to the doorstep. There's no wasting time at the grocery store, because America's #1 meal kit helps make home cooking easy, efficient, and affordable. With HelloFresh, the shopping is already done, and the perfect amount of ingredients arrive with step-by-step recipe cards. Doesn't get more efficient than that. Plus, HelloFresh saves you time and money. It's 25% less expensive than takeout, so you get a home-cooked meal without digging deep into your wallet. And they got everything you want. They got steak, they got chicken, great vegetables, seafood, anything. So go to HelloFresh.com/50Eagles. Use the code 50Eagles, 50Eagles, for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50Eagles. Use the promo code 50Eagles for 50% off plus free shipping. Act now for America's #1 meal kit. Well, it is going to be quite a week coming ahead for the Philadelphia Eagles. It usually is. I'll leave you guys with this. The Eagles are one of the best. They're known as one of the best organizations because they are consistently in the playoffs. Howie Roseman is known for being able to put out a very good 53-man roster, a competitive one. But, when you look at teams like, say, I don't know, maybe the Steelers or the Ravens, the Packers, who are right back in with another good quarterback in Jordan Love, those teams don't seem to hit the skids. Like when the Eagles are bad, it just seems like the bottom falls out and chaos ensues. I think that's the one thing that would withhold me from placing them up with some of the really strong Ravens type organizations in the league. And Clay, you've played for a lot of different organizations, and I'm wondering if, because you've seen the Eagles when they were at their worst, at the end of their career, and you were on some pretty good, decent Eagles teams when you got there, if I'm not mistaken. So, is there anything when things weren't well in Philadelphia, could you feel it from top to bottom? Like, could you feel it throughout the building?
No, yeah, definitely you could. And my rookie year, we go 11-5, make the playoffs. We lost the first round of the Packers, and next year we go 8-8. We finish strong. We keep the same team together. And then obviously we had that season with the 8-game skid when it felt like nothing could just go right. We're throwing in Foles, whatever we did, just nothing seemed to work. And you definitely feel that from the top down. You feel it from the coaches, and guys are talking like, "Hey, this could be it," and like it gets into the players. Players talk about, they're probably firing Andy. They're probably letting our offensive coordinator go. And then you have a situation like you had with Patricia. The players talk about it. These guys they don't have blinders on, and they're not just aloof to everything that's going on. It affects the players. It affects how they play on the field, not just because schematically they're not used to what Matt Patricia's doing. Yes, he's calling some different calls, some different blitzes. They're not a master in the coverages he's calling. He's calling all these different blitzes. You look at the old school Seattle Seahawks, when we had the Legion of Boom, they're running cover 3, a little bit of cover 1, pop a 2 here or there, nothing. They're not tricking anybody. They're just beating you.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, that affects you schematically, but it also affects you mentally, because you do hear everything that's going on, and that affects your preparation. You don't know what's going to happen one day to the next, and just you find that stuff wearing on your performance as a player.
Yeah. Good stuff there, Clay. As someone who's been involved in
said.
different organizations, and Adam, we'll close on this.
Okay.
I think we know what initiatives 1 and 1A are for the Eagles in the offseason. We already talked about one of them, which is they need to get younger, more athletic, more dynamic on the back end, and quickly. 1A or 1, whatever order you want. They have to figure out a way to get Jalen Hurts functioning like he did 2 years ago and not this year. And I'm not putting it all on him. I'm just saying that this offense cannot just be the same. It can't be like we're a hair off. Andy Reid used to say we're a little hair off. We're a little hair. They are not a hair off. All right.
They're a beard off. Yeah.
They're a caveman off. That's what they
I
are.
mean, they're so far away. And when you've got Devontae Smith, who's an awesome player, and Goddard, AJ Brown, and Swift's a free agent, we'll see. But this offense can't underachieve like it did. That's just not acceptable. And the defense was an absolute embarrassment this season. Let's call it like it was. It fell off. It's kind of like you look again, as I said at the top, you look at the record, like how are they 10-1? They were a fraudulent 10-1, but still very competitive. And they've fallen off like this, one of the biggest implosions in team history. And then, I'm getting all these texts the last hour, like, what the hell's wrong with them? These are NFL people. I'm like, I don't really have an answer, because it's just been, again, it's not one position or one side of the football, it's both sides. And when you have an implosion like this, man, Howie's got to look at himself. Absolutely has to. He's architect of this thing. And he's got to do a better job. And coaches, whoever's still here, they've got to do a better job. If they are, we'll see what happens. This is unfortunately where we're at. I mean, the Arizona game, to me, folks, they never recovered. Never recovered.
Never.
I mean, it wasn't a skid. It was an absolute crash. I mean, this wasn't even
It was a reality check, I guess.
Yeah, wasn't even big for Philly. This was a big implosion for the NFL. This was a big implosion for professional sports to start 10-1, and then that's like in the NBA. You're 40-10. Okay, you are a top tier team, the number 1 team in the league, and to lose your last 6 games the way they did, you're losing to bad teams. You're getting beat by the Buccaneers in the playoffs, and it's not even close. This isn't a skid. This is a complete embarrassment. I don't want to overdo it here, but this isn't just we lost in the play. No, you lost 6 out of your last 7 games, the one team you beat was Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants. This was almost unfathomable for a team. I mean, something has to be done about it.
Yeah, man, tough fall and winter for Philadelphia fans, because this collapse you could sort of equate 10-1 was like the Phillies just smacking up the Atlanta Braves and hitting everything from Strider out of the park. And then the rest of the season was sort of like versus the Diamondbacks, where you got no answers and you can't even hit Diamondbacks relievers. That's what it felt like for the Philadelphia fan. Pitchers and catchers will be reporting in about a month. So as for us here at Inside the Birds, we will have all of you covered with everything that ensues beyond today. I guarantee you that. I want to thank all of our great followers and viewers who have been watching season-long Inside the Birds postgame live. Thanks to you, Clay Harbor. You've been a great addition to the show. We really appreciate it. And thanks to our great production team, Jimmy and Zach, and of course our friends at Hello Fresh and Sky Motor Cars, Ocean Casino Resort, and My Bookie. For that, we'll end it there. For Clay Harbor, Adam Caplan, I'm Geoff Mosher, and for the final time this season, you've been watching Inside the Birds postgame live.